Hi, let's continue with our walkthrough for of LogMeOnce Family Edition. I'm going to log in with the password, and let me point out, few of the features we haven't really talked about it yet. Now, the first thing it will do is LogMeOnce points out, use a security checkup so I can have a recovery password, recovery phone number, and also emergency recovery key in case if my account is I can't get to my account. So I highly recommend you to set up all these three. I'm going to start with generating a recovery certificate, and it's going to create a certificate for me, a recovery key. When it's all done, I can, save it to a file or print it to a recovery key. So I'm going to print it. I'm going to get there, and this would be the recovery key, and I'll just print it. That's all. And as soon as I print it, I have it in my system. I'm call it, let's say, LogMeOnce uh, recovery key, or call it whatever you want. Just the point is, have a recovery key so you can always, get back to it. Then you can have an email address, and maybe what I want to do, I use my son's email as my recovery, so we could recover each other. So I'm going to put his email as recovery key, save changes, and that is going to send an email to him, and he has to approve it. Then that's all will be set. Okay, so I am right now logged in with as Andy. So if you look at it here, I'm Andy, and I came here to the email. I couldn't find it, but I scrolled down. I noticed that email went into spam. So you definitely wanna, if something like this happens, always go and remove it from the spam. And so this way, all of your other emails will not be blocked. So I click on report not a spam. I come in here, I see it there, and now I click on confirm email. Now, as soon as this is confirmed, I come here and I see that waiting is gone, and now that email is available. So similarly, you can do this with, with your phone number. So it's in this case, it's going to send the email. I'm sorry. In this case, it's going to send a text to your phone number, and then you're going to type it here, and then it will be, as soon as you type it. So let's say if I add something like 703-555-1212 and click on enter a code, it will send the text, and then it's going to wait. And it says here this is not a phone number, but anyway, so that is what it will do. Okay, when you are done, click on continue uh, with the LogMeOnce account, so you always are there. So something to notice when you log into in the detail view, anything that you see, this section is the note section. Anything I see in red, that means this has a note. This field, this password has a note. I can click on it and see the note. If you remember in the other video, we created a note here, so you could see the notes on this screen as well. So now let's go on adding. Let's add a credit card. I'm going to go and click on add credit card, and then I'm going to put cold hold number. It's going to say Joe Smith. I'm going to use 42 42 42. This is the one of the default numbers. I'm going to say 1 2005, and I'm going to say 123, and issued by BOA. So I'm going to save it. Now this credit card is saved. So if I go now to, under password management, if I go to secure vault, I will see that saved credit cards. In fact, I had created two, so it shows both of them, both of my cards that are present there. Okay, so that is now another thing I can do here is I can go. Let's look at the walkthrough of the other features. We created secure notes. We talked about password changer, and we talked about the sharing center. And sharing center was has two tabs basically. One tab is shared with others, everything that are I have shared with others, and I can come here and change it. Any shares I want at any time, I can update my shares, and also shared with me apps that are somebody else has shared with me. I can view both of those things on this screen. So on the smart menu, I have other features that I will go through them one by one, so you will be able to have a group, a good way of understanding all the features. Very good. Let's go to groups. I am as Joe, the father. I go to groups. These are the different folders and groups that I have created. And, I have a folder called family, and that's created. Now, if I click on the details of it, on the right side, I see who is the member of that family group. So, for example, if I click on member, I see nobody is the member, but I'm going to add Joe. I'm sorry, I'm going to add Andy to be the member of that group as well. So let's select it and, right up arrow, and now Andy has been added to that group. And I'm going to share. So, as in that family group, I have eBay shared. Let's share also United Airlines. So I'm going to share United Airlines as well. Now let's log in as Andy now. So on this screen, I'm going to log in as Andy. In fact, for Andy's also, it is asking me to set up, a configuration for Andy. It's best to set it up. I'm going to set it up later, but for right now, I'm going to continue with LogMeOnce. Now I'm going to password manager. Now I am Andy, and Andy in the family edition, as you see, this is shared, and these two apps are shared, and I can use it. If I go to family edition, I see both of those apps that are shared. Now let's click on smart menu, and I see groups here as well. And on the groups, I have apps that are under the groups. So this is a group that I have created, and this is the group that is shared. So if I go to this group, under this group, what I can do is, if I look at the members, I'll see I am part of that member group. As you see, I cannot change the membership. Only Joe can, create the membership. So that's because of that. And then if I go to the application, I see list application, but maybe at this point I want to share one of my apps with the group so everybody will have access to it. And I added, now that app goes into the group. If I, click here and come back, and I see that app also listed in the group. So this way I can share apps, with my family, and applications with my family, so everybody would be able to use it. If I go back to password manager, so that was the family app. In fact, let's do this. Let's just go ahead and change this. We call it a family share. I can type, so family share. So this is the app that I created, family share. As you see, there are 3 apps here. And interestingly enough, some of them was shared by, Joe, and some of them was shared by Andy. So that would be, if I do a refresh, I would see the shared folder as well. So this is how I can share apps across, different family members. And you can, create multiple shares. One could be for family share, one something you want to share with your daughter, your son, your spouse. You can, set everything the way you really need. Next is, let's go back again to a smart menu. And in a smart menu, you can set up two-factor authentication. And two-factor authentication is really meant for, this is what you do for yourself. You can, set that up. For example, I can set up two-factor with email. I can set up with Google Authenticator, USB, X509 cert, security key. I can do all of that. So every time I log in, it will ask me for my authentication. Now let's do this. I'm going to go back to the Andy's, Andy's browser, which is on this side, and set up Andy with 2FA, and let's see what happens. So I come here and two factor authentication, and let's say set up Andy with 2FA. I'm going to click on that. It's going to send it. So I'm going to enable 2FA with email. I say send a code. So it's sending a code right now to Andy's email, which I have Andy's email open on this side. Let's open it and wait for the email to come. Now the email has come. I click on the email and it shows me the code. And that is the code. So I can basically, copy it, bring it here, paste it, verify it, done. Now that it is verified, save changes. Now logging via email is functional. I highly recommend that you set up multiple of these 2FAs. So you have multiple options in case you couldn't go with one, you can log in with another option. So let's now log out from Andy's account and see what really happens. I log out from Andy's account and now I try to log in with password, and as you see here, F2FA was enabled. So I click on login and I log in. It tells me that I have sent an email to this Gmail email address. So if I come back here, I should see the email from that email to show up. Okay, now I see the email has shown. Keep in mind, if you send multiple, 2FAs, here it says number two. You want to make sure you always look at the very last one. For example, this was sent 0 minutes, but this was sent 2 minutes ago. So always look at the very last one, which was new. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to. You always, if you enter, this will say invalid code. So let me go back here. So I can put now the new code and click on verify. However, I wanted to emphasize a couple of things on this screen. If, for example, you didn't receive the email, you click on send email again and it will resend you the email. That's one thing you could do. Another option is maybe you don't have access to this email address right now. Or you want to maybe cancel it to FA altogether. So what you can do is click on, cannot log in to account. So you can, log into account. Now, if you don't have access to this email at all, you can set it up. You can cancel it through the account recovery. That's another option. But you want to make sure that you have multiple options of recovery set up, like that phone number that I mentioned. Okay, so I select this, click on verify, and as soon as I verify, I get logged into the account. So now I am in my account using 2FA, which is a lot more secure way of logging to the account. All right, so we did this, and as you see, I only set this up for Andy. I haven't done this for Joe. So Joe still can log in any way that they want. Okay, so let's go through other options here. We talked about groups. We did two-factor authentication. Now let's go about profile. In a profile page, it shows, I have not confirmed my email. Let me look at the profile page for Andy. If Andy has, configured his. So Andy has, but as you see, the Joe has not. Okay, in profile page, as you look at it here, there's multiple options. Right here is your profile picture. You can change it. Here it says your profile is not complete. If you mouse over it, it will show you what are the things you need to do. You need to enter last name, birthday, confirm email. So those are the options that you want to do. Let's do those. So we have, I'm going to say Smith. I'm going to say 1 January. Okay, that's done. I'm going to use 123 Main Street. We are in Virginia, Fairfax. 22033, and US state, and country is and the United States, and Virginia. I select Virginia, I can put the number. If I have a company, I can put the company name. Let's save changes, and then as you see, my profile, completeness grows. So I still need to add a phone number, confirm email address, and also put company info. On this side, it will show you your default browser setting. You can use that as language, or if you want to have, other languages, you could use that as well. And auto logout is if there's inactivity in your account in your browser, it will automatically log you out of LogMeOnce. You can set it to different. You can disable it, which I wouldn't recommend it. You can, set it to something reasonable. You can do it 10 minutes, 30 minutes, up to 1 day, but it's all your choice. But you can update it, as you wish here. Now, another feature we have is you can set up multiple profiles. For example, I can go and create a profile. Maybe I have another email address that I use as, uh, Smithy, you know, as my, and then I can use it as smithy@gmail.com. Maybe that's another email I'm using. For my autofill and otherwise, I can save it. Now that's also saved. And here it shows I have 3 of 3, and you can use different addresses for them. So it will be used for autofill also. Now I'm going to go back to this, but let's look at the addresses. I can even have multiple separate addresses. So, you can define 234 Brown Avenue, Suite 123. So that could be my address. So, that is also saved, and this way you have multiple addresses also to use. So let's go back. So this is the settings you can do in the under profile. Now let's go back to setting page. Now under setting page, you can have it is multiple menu settings on the left side, starting from the website. Website, these are all the activities that happens on the website. For example, I can disable productivity dock. This is productivity dock. If I save it and done, now productivity dock, if I refresh it, productivity dock is gone. There's no more productivity dock. Now, display vault animation. Now, if I go to password manager, you see this vault opening and closing. I can disable that. And if I go to settings and disable that option, I can disable that option. Boom. Now, if I go back to password manager, it wouldn't ask me for my vault. It automatically takes me to the account. So those are really option based on what you like to do. You can do it based on, for example, schedule login. I can come up here and say, schedule log out, and this is the log out screen, and it shows me both of these together. If I disable that and click on save changes, if I log out, it will automatically log me out of your LogMeOnce. So that option is also gone. So let's log in again. Very good. Let's go back to settings one more time. Now, landing pages. Right now, the landing page is set to password manager. Maybe I want to log in. Every time I log in, I want it to directly go to Secure Vault after my login. So if I save changes, click on Save Changes here, and log out, and now if I try to log in, it takes me directly to my Secure Vault. it takes me directly to my digital wallet or secure wallet. So let's go through the setting. As you see, these features are very straightforward. Now, maybe in my case, if you look at it, all the icons that you see here, maybe I don't use, let's say, a password changer here. So I'm going to come here and click on password changer, save changes. And now if I look at the smart menu, that password changer is gone. So I can really simplify this based on how I am using it and what I want to do. Now, browser extension, if you click on browser extension, these are the features that are enabled for browser extension. Now, if I check this, it will, if there's no internet connection, it will use the extension on the offline mode. And if you mouse over, it will give you an explanation what it means. So basically, if there's no connectivity with LogMeOnce, or you are in the plane or otherwise, you can have access to your data offline. So this is something you can also use and change. Now, show account selection on the login page. Now, what here it does, okay, this is showing the, selection on the login, account selection on login page. Now, so what I do is if I want to, for example, log into Facebook, if I click on here, this is the selection page. I can disable or enable it. Now, let's go back and let's disable that. Okay, under remember password, it shows remember password pop-up when logging to a site. It will show a pop-up when you're trying to log into a site, whether you want to show it or not. For example, if I try to log in as testtest.com and with some password, if I try to log in to Facebook, this is the remember password, which tells you do you want to show it or not. Now, if I go and disable that, so don't show me remember password and save it. And now, if I try to log in, let's try it one more time. Okay. Test and test.com. Let's say test 2, and this is test. And as you see, nothing really happens. That dialog doesn't show up. So you can disable the dialogs. This will disable browser password manager and explain some details about it. Password changer pop-up if you want to disable it. Now this feature enables auto login. What that really means is if I go back to password manager, for example, here, if I edit this app, if you look at under more options, it says auto login is enabled. What that means is, let's go back here. What that means is, now if I try to refresh, right, it will show my data. Now, however, if I come and click on this option, it will log in and autofill my password. But if I remove this check and save it, it doesn't log me directly to the app. Let's look at what happens. If I click on this, it will just autofill it and it stays right there. It doesn't do anything after that. So that is the difference, whether you want to autofill or you want to actually the auto login. Now this feature, this shows 4 apps, or let me refresh it because this was 4. This is 4 or 5 apps where are currently enabled for auto login. If I click on it, it will enable all of them. Let's look at it. And so all of them, let's go here so you can see the difference. Let's refresh it. So I'm gonna go to the same test app. If you look at secure option, it is checked. Now, but if I go here and click it one more time, it will disable it for all of them. And by the way, this is already saved. There's nothing you need to do. So let's refresh it. It was enabled, but now if I go, it is disabled. So which means automatically you can set up for, if you have 500 apps, you can automatically change it to autofill. So you don't have to do anything. Now, when you do, when it does remember password, let me save it here, and let's, you know, test.com, test. So look at, it shows you a group. It is set to favorite. If you look at it here, this is because this group, default group, is set to favorite. If you change this default group, so every time remember password is shown, it can, show it for a different group. So the default would be a different group. So that is used for that purpose. Now for autofilling. Now you have two ways of autofilling. One is, as you see here, it says enable personal information autofill and disable browser autofill. So there are, two different features here. Let's look at this. I am right now, let's say I go to create a new account in Facebook. I'm here. So as you see, I click on here. First of all, you see the icons here. That that means those fields we have detected, and we can tell you what they are and autofill for you. I'm currently on a password page. If I click on it, it shows generate password. This is first name. If I click on it, it shows my first name. Everything related to first name. Now on this autofill screen, it shows you multiple, icons. So this is automatically detected. If we did not detect this field properly, maybe it was a credit card, you can click on it and you see the credit card information. Maybe it was, already we had an account and we didn't detect properly. You can use that. Or if it was a password generator, you could use that. So this really gives you that option. By the way, with the password manager, it was, if the generator, it automatically generates a password for you. But if you want something else, you click on show more, and now you can perform different type of settings there, and you can change it on the password generator. In the password generator, since we are doing that, you can show hide it, you can copy it, and let me show it. You can, generate a different password. Right here, it shows the password strength and the time to crack. And this time is really dependent to multiple factor, and it could change based on CPU power. And it's just the estimate of the time it takes. I can extend this and get a different password. I can change my, requirement and generate a different password automatically. So that field is about, that autofill. Now we allow, as you see, is there are one item. It says open LogMeOnce pop-up when you click on the field, right? So what I did, if you look at here, I was clicking on this field and the pop-up was showing up. Maybe that's not what I want. Maybe I want to click on the icon. Let me save changes. And then let's go back to this screen. See, if I click on that field, nothing shows up. But now this time, if I click on the icon, it will do the same thing. So you have this option as well to be able to review and update, see what data you have there. Here it shows, as default, it shows the LogMeOnce icon in the detected field, which is these fields here, and show password generator for detected password field. That's what I showed you, and show field with the orange color, and that is what was shown. Now let me try something else. Let's assume this we had not. Give me a second. Okay. I was trying to find a field that we didn't detect it, but couldn't. We were detected. I tried Facebook, New York Times, and CNN. But let's assume this field we have detected as zip code. If I click on it, it will show the zip code that you could autofill. So let's assume we have not detected this field. Now, or we have detected wrongly. So what LogMeOnce allows you to do is if you click on it, right mouse button, it shows on the bar here the option to autofill mapping. If I click on it, it will, in this case, it is automatically detecting this as an address. So if I click on address, it says, it's let's say it is a zip code. If I click on it, so it will consider this is a zip code. So if it was not a zip code, or maybe a field was not detected, a login field was not detected, I can go and say this was not really a zip code. Maybe it was a login screen. So I can say this is a username, and now the text is a username. And at any time I want, I can go and change it. Login. If you see, this was the default. I can change it, go back and change it to address and zip code. So that is another feature of LogMeOnce that allows you to do that. Now, never remember if there are websites that you don't remember the password. Like maybe I come here, let's say I go back to log into existing account. I put test2 at test3.com and try to save it. And then it says, remember, I would say never to decide. If I click on it and come back here, refresh it, I should see, Facebook under this list. I can remove it, or I can even add my own URL to be added to this list. OpenID is related to the website that supports OpenID, so you can log in through that. Mockshot setting is when somebody logs in, LogMeOnce provides and stops hackers from logging in because we take their metadata information and stop them from hacking to LogMeOnce user accounts. So what happens is you will be able to do front facing. We can, take the camera during unsuccessful logging or through successful login. Even if you want to log in when users are logging in and you want to make sure it's really you who is logging in and not somebody else, you can collect all that info as well. So you can set what options you want to do here. Under mobile, when we display when you use photo login to log into LogMeOnce account, we can always show the pin as default, or you can decide never show the pin or default show the pin. If I go to default, it basically says by default user is asked for additional verification when lock screen is not enabled, lock screen of your mobile device. But if it is enabled, it will never ask it. If you go to always, it will always ask for a pin additional to your picture. If you say never, it will never ask. Now, under privacy, we'll let you, set whether you want to capture camera, allow capturing location information, and also cookie information. The last thing on the storage location is you can store your data in the cloud or on your desktop. Now, please keep in mind we are here. We are really answering the user requirement because that they want to store their data on the desktop because they don't want their data to be on the cloud. We completely understand that. So if you store your data on the desktop, that means your data is on this particular desktop. You don't want your data to be, on the cloud. Now, if you want the data to be on a mobile, so it has to somehow travel from here to a mobile, right? And generally, what other vendors do is they use and sync it through cloud, which really bypasses the whole security and concern the user had. If you want to be on the desktop, that means that was your concern, so keep it on the desktop. Why do you need to sync it to the through the cloud? Because that's not the user was asking for in the first place. So that is what when you say desktop, that means it is on this desktop only. I don't want to put it in any other place. Of course, If you want to move it to other location, other desktops, you can do that, but still it will be on that desktop because you don't want to leave your boundary or your PC. You don't want your data to leave your PC. But if you want, and if you please, I highly recommend reading this section that explains what really happens with when you put your data on your desktop, on your local computer only. But if you put it on your cloud, it gives you a lot more flexibility. You can sync across different devices, different PCs, so it's a lot more protected. We back up all the data here. You're responsible for backing all of your data yourself. So this was, another overview from the settings section of the software. Now, let's go back to subscription. Subscription is generally talks about, different subscription of LogMeOnce. It is into three different areas. Password manager. You see there premium, professional, ultimate, and family. You can go to identity protection for dark web monitoring, and this covers everybody in your family. Or you can go to cloud encryption that covers the cloud encryption. So these are the three different options of encryption. Now on the left side, it shows the overview of your account. It shows I'm a family edition, until when this account is valid for. It shows my storage. If I'm, the amount of storage I have. If I want to buy more storage, I can definitely do so. Now, LogMeOnce allows you to send SMS and voicemail, and for that you need to get credits. You can buy credits if you want to do that. If you want to use SMS, if I click on buy, I can buy additional credits. It is, $10 for 1,000 credits. We give you a lot of options. Other vendors don't have that, but we give you a lot of options. You don't have to buy credits, but we give you the option in case if you want to. So on the billing history, if you click on show billing, it will take you to the billing section. You can see, I haven't purchased this. Is a new account that we set up together. You can see payment, and you can also see subscription. And go back arrow, it takes you back to the subscription page. Okay, let's go over emergency access. Emergency access is a way I want to set up beneficiary or give emergency access to the people who I trust. And that's in case of emergency, I cannot access my system. I can give people access so they can log in. Maybe I'm in a hospital or in other situation, I can give access to my account. So let's try this. If I want to set up emergency, I click on add emergency. And let's say I want to set up, I give emergency access to Andy, my son. So in case if I'm not able to log in to my account, I'll give Andy emergency access. Now, what waiting period means is, as soon as I send the emergency access, you will see, I'll show you in Andy's account. As soon as I send emergency access, it will show up in Andy's account that, he has received the emergency. Now he can accept it, and when he accepts that emergency, I have 2 days to, cancel the emergency. That is one option. Or I can immediately give him access, or, I can increase this timeout. So I will let that to you on how you want to decide to do that. In this example, I want to select immediately, so they will have immediate access. If I click on show more option, it shows the details of the email that we are sending to Andy on behalf of Joe. So let's click on send, and now this Andy emergency is set up. It is gone to Andy. So let me